Time now is 7 p.m. I'm going to call this meeting to order now. At this time, if you can please silence your cell phones and any electronic devices, that would be greatly appreciated. Your greeters at the door today is Airport Manager Stephen Licklider and Leisure Services Director Robert Carolyn. To my far right and your far left, we have Recording Secretary Taylor Lockhart, City Clerk Susan Dodderis, Deputy Mayor, Zone 1 Commissioner Lori Tolland.
Good evening, everyone.
Zone 2 Commissioner Travis Sargent.
Good evening, welcome.
And to my to my left and your right, we have Zone 3 Commissioner Christian Deaton.
Good evening, everyone.
Zone 4 Commissioner Harold Briley.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome.
City Manager Joy Shanahan.
Good evening, everyone.
Assistant City Manager Sean Finley. And Claire Whitley is in the second row there, waving her hand. Hello. City Attorney Randy Hayes. And then to my far left and your far right, we have, Captain Roos is here. And Chief Bailey. I am Mayor Jason Leslie. At this time, I'm going to call Pastor Neil, there you are, to do the invocation followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Mr. Mayor, there's a place in the New Testament where Paul talks to somebody in a Roman government environment. He says that it's good. He urged that supplications and prayers and intercessions and thanksgiving be made for all people, for kings, we would say mayors, and for all who are in high positions, our good crew of representatives here and everybody about that serves them, so that we can lead a peaceful and quiet life, godly and dignified in every way. I think that last part's a way to describe what I've found this place to be in the last 20 years. You all leadership are doing well. Father, we thank you for your mercies to us. Thank you for the great mercy of our Lord Jesus Christ and what he did for his people. We pray tonight that you would, by your Spirit, give wisdom to those who govern us so well. We thank you for every one of them. All of us out here, thank you for the beautiful place we live in, for the police and the firemen, for all the people in every part of this government, in the mechanical stages, the people that fix the roads, everything. We live in a good place. Thank you for the governance that assures that. And we pray all these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Neil. You may all sit. Moving on to presentation and proclamation section of the agenda. This is a time we can acknowledge and celebrate individuals, organizations, and other community successes of achievements within our wonderful city. Today we have one proclamation and one presentation. At this time, I'd like to invite Becky Parker to receive a proclamation. Well, it's good to see you. So at this time, I'm going to have you hold up your frame, and then just hold it to everybody. I'm going to read the civic proclamation for you. Whereas Ormond Beach is a vibrant and growing community, rich in history, culture, and entrepreneurial spirit, the success of the downtown district has been driven in large part by the tireless dedication of leaders and community advocates who believe in the potential of the downtown area, and one such leader is Becky Parker, Executive Director at Ormond Beach Main Street. And whereas Becky Parker joined Ormond Main Street in 2014 as the Community Engagement and Events Coordinator, and through her leadership has helped shape the organization into the vital force it is today. And whereas under Becky's visionary leadership, Ormond Main Street has celebrated significant accomplishments, including receiving national accreditation from Main Street America, organizing successful events such as the Celtic Festival, and updating its strategic plan. And whereas Becky's dedication has brought numerous public art projects to life, expanded the farmers market, and led efforts to enhance the downtown district through initiatives like the new website and public art installations. And whereas Becky's leadership has impacted Ormond Main Street and the greater Ormond Beach community, including bringing the Florida Main Street Conference to Ormond Beach in 2022, which highlighted the city's potential on a state and national stage. And whereas her outstanding contributions, Becky Parker was honored with the 2025 Leadership Award at the annual installation banquet, recognizing her unwavering commitment to Ormond Beach and her transformative role in the community's growth and development. Now, therefore, I, Jason Leslie, Mayor of the City of Ormond Beach, do hereby proclaim February 18th, 2025 as a day to honor and recognize Becky Parker. And on top of it, I'm going to also give you a coin to the city here.
I'm going to bark. Get away from me.
I like the crown on my head, though. All right.
Go, Rue, go.
Debbie, Stephanie, and Abby up too.
The whole group.
They're my family. And Bobby.
That's awesome.
The entire commission and myself.
Anyone else from the chambers?
Come on down.
Come on, Dorian. Let's go. Come on.
Hello, Mr. Jones.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right. Congratulations, Becky.
Congrats.
At this time, I'd like to invite Zach Shalafor to the front. Did I say it right?
Good evening. Yes, you nailed it.
Oh, wow, good.
Zach Shalafor, partner, James Moore and Company. The extreme the other way is cauliflower. So again, you were.
I don't. Is your microphone on? Oh, okay.
I can try. Is that? Oh, there we go. That's better.
Yep.
All right.
Go Jets.
Okay. All right. So yes, just in case you didn't catch it, Zach Shalafor, partner, James Moore and Company. So we are here to review the annual audit for the fiscal year ended September 30th, 2024. First and foremost, as always, want to thank the commission for the opportunity to work with the city, as well as a big thanks to your finance team. Kelly and Chris are here. This is a lot of work on our side, but it's even more work on their side, not just to get this done, but to get this done as quickly as it is. This is kind of, the annual schedule, second meeting in February, and just from kind of an overall timeliness perspective, I do like to highlight just the fact that of the 45 or so municipalities that we audit, you guys are the third this year in terms of being wrapped up and having the audit presented. So that just speaks not just to the results, but the overall timeliness of getting this report out as fast as possible as you all look into the rest of the current year and then eventually next year's budget. So to summarize our, let's see, did that go? Was it on or do I have to? That wasn't on. All right, maybe. I saw the light. Oh, there we go. Are you doing it or? Okay. All right. So there are 5 reports that we issue. These are management's financial statements. There's 5 reports that summarize the results of the audit. The first is the report on the financial statements. We did issue an unmodified opinion that the financial statements are fairly presented, effectively that the numbers can be relied upon. So that's what you want to see here. This year, we also had a federal single audit looking at your FEMA dollars, kind of a mini compliance audit. We had a clean opinion there with regard to the city complying with those grant terms. And then we also perform the audit in accordance with government auditing standards, where while it's not an internal control audit, if we come across any deficiencies in the design of internal controls or functioning issues in performing our financial testing, we would note those here. We had no such comments this year. And then the last 2 are really just catch-all items and requirements from the state of Florida. This year, we had no modifications to any of those reports, mostly here just centered around financial condition, kind of just other red flags that if they were to exist, the state would want us to highlight those. So no issues there. Then we also, as in prior years, do issue separate audit reports on both of the CRAs. Those all have the same reports and no modifications in those reports either. And we are live. This is working for me. From a highlight of the numbers, always like to show a 4-year kind of trend analysis of your general fund. As you can see here, it has been almost flat for the last 4 years, right in that $13.5 to $14 million fund balance range. And as I always like to do is to kind of put it into perspective. The 2 numbers we take are your assigned plus your unassigned fund balance, which are kind of just your available unrestricted general fund reserves. Relative to what you spent in the current year of about $45 million, you're at about 26% or approximately 3 months. I always kind of benchmark that to the Government Finance Officers Association kind of best practice recommendation, which is a bare minimum of 2 months in reserves. And they say if you're prone to natural disasters, hurricanes, things of that nature, those are all reasons to be some degree higher. So just a little bit over that minimum recommendation, and in compliance as well, you have a 15% rule when you look at your subsequent budget relative to your unassigned, and you are in compliance with your internal policy as well. Looking at your proprietary funds, your water and sewer and solid waste, primarily your water and sewer can fluctuate really just based on the timing of capital project activity. But the notable item here is your solid waste. Last year, we saw a major decrease, and that really was a timing difference related to Hurricane Ian, as well as Nicole, where you had all of your debris costs that were charged into solid waste. A couple years later, that money came back from FEMA, bringing that from a negative 2.7 kind of artificial timing difference back into a little bit over $1 million in a positive net position number there. And then lastly, I always do like to touch on the net pension liability. This year, it's in total about a $15 million liability that shows up in your financial statements. I always do like to really reflect the idea that this is more so just informational. The city will not have to cut a check tomorrow for that full amount. It's really an exercise in governmental accounting to show that liability on your statements. But I also did just summarize kind of the high level, how that unfunded liability has changed. On the right side, we have what percent are they funded. And as I always like to say, you're never as good as you look. You're never as bad as you look. All of those numbers shot up about 10% this year just based on the performance of the stock market from last year, September 30th, to this year. But I always kind of say it's about taking the proper steps in the long term to say, okay, for the next 50 years, how do we ensure the long-term health of these plans? And again, you're never as good as you look. You're never as bad as you look, as we saw in 2021 and 2022, where all those funded percentages shot way up and then came right back down as the market kind of reset. So those are the highlights. Wanted to be at least as brief as I could, but I'm more than glad to answer any questions or dive into anything deeper.
Does anyone in the commission have any questions for Zach? Oh, Commissioner Briley.
Mr. Mayor, not as much a question, just a comment. I'd just like to thank Mr. Challo for the the fine audit, and also Kelly McGuire and Chris Bile, and our city manager, Joy Shanahan, for keeping a tight ship and making sure we look good financially. Thanks, sir.
Deputy Mayor?
I just want to reiterate what Commissioner Briley just said. You guys do a fabulous job, and our staff is just amazing, and they make us look really good. Thank you.
I'm just going to echo on that. You know, when I hear we run a lean budget, I appreciate that. And, you know, thank you for everything. Thank you for taking the meetings with us and answering all of my questions.
Any other questions? No? Oh, Joyce? Sure. Oh, do you want to?
Thank you. I just wanted to give a personal shout out to Chris Bile and Kelly McGuire. They really are the backbone of that department, and they work extremely hard. They keep a very tight ship. You can't get anything through them. Sometimes it takes an act of God, but I love that because that means they are great stewards of our pocketbook. But both Chris and Kelly have been a remarkable team for our city, and we are very fortunate to have their expertise. And I just wanted to say that publicly. Thank you for allowing me.
Okay, thanks, Joyce. And I will say, Zach, thank you very much. You did a great job, and staff too. I mean, the numbers we went over yesterday, it was just phenomenal. So great job for everybody on that. If you have any other questions, then we'll move on. No other questions? No? Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks, y'all.
At this time, we'll hear from those of you who have signed a card to speak about any item which is not on the printed agenda for the meeting, including items on the consent agenda. Each person will be given a total of 3 minutes. First speaker will be Amber Bobick? Boback, I'm sorry. Looked like a D there. Okay.
There's one more.
Okay.
Just.
Okay.
I'm very nervous, so I apologize. I have never been to one of these meetings. I would like to, first of all, say thank you to the planning department because they have been absolutely amazing on this subject. I live in the neighborhood next to the proposed gas station for 699 South Nova Road, and I have a lot of concerns. They've heard me on all of my concerns. They've helped me read and understand the zoning, which is why I'm here tonight, because I would like to propose that we do an overhaul of the commercial zoning of those residential abutting districts, because right now, as it lays, they have conditional, which they get to go through, have to meet all the city requirements and everything, but the safety suggestions are 500 feet from a residential location to a gas station as far as emissions and safety concerns are compared to that. Also, the Hand Avenue traffic that has already increased from the development that has started down on Hand towards Williamson has increased. There's no stop signs other than the stoplight and then at the end, so people cut through there all the time. I live on Collins between Division and Hand, and they cut from Division over to there. Left-hand turn in and out of that gas station should not happen at all. Otherwise, we're going to be overrun by trucks and other additional cars that come through there. I'm also concerned about the additional lighting that it's going to produce, because we do have the environmental center with the bird trail through the central parks through there. We have a lot of nightlife owl birds that inhabit the area, and I'm worried about what it might do to their current environment, as well as the 13 trees that they're going to remove, even though they're going to be adding more trees. I know that the landscaping has been absolutely wonderful. I read through her notes on the first submittal that they proposed, and she has a lot of changes to do for natural vegetation in the area, which is absolutely amazing. But I would like us to please, not just for my commercial area, but all of the residential areas in the city, I would like us to reevaluate and see if there can be something to amend the 500-foot recommendation for the kids. There's at least 2 houses that have kids that live right there up next to that property. So I'm just worried. And I know I've emailed all of you. So I know you've read the email, but I was told to come here and express my concerns so that it was officially on record with everybody. So I am here. I have started a petition. I have at least 100 signatures in the area already and have no problem walking my neighborhood streets to get more consensus on what should or should not be done in that area. Okay. Thank you. I know I've got a couple of seconds.
Thank you, Amber.
Thank you.
Next is Jerry Valkic.
Mayor, Commissioners, good evening. I'm Jerry Valsic. I live on the Ormond Beach side. I'm here to staunchly support continuing the safe and optimal fluoridation of our city's drinking water. I devoted most of my 40-year professional engineering career to protecting public health by ensuring safe and healthy drinking water for large communities. These included the 1.6 million consumers in the metropolitan Baltimore area and millions of people in U.S. Army installations worldwide. I have an advanced degree in environmental health protection and am a diplomate emeritus in the American Academy of Environmental Engineers and Scientists. I'm also a life member of the American Waterworks Association, so I know a bit about safe and healthy drinking water, including fluoridation. I urge you to reconsider your recent decision to eliminate fluoridation from our drinking water. This was a dangerous and reckless act with far-reaching consequences. This decision could not have been based on the more than 80 years of proven medicine, science, and fact, but instead, I presume, on the political anti-fluoridation pressure exerted by the State Surgeon General Ladapo. This political pressure focused on the adverse effects of overexposure to excessively high levels of fluoride. It disregarded the tremendous beneficial effect of nominal optimal fluoridation. I repeat, nominal optimal fluoridation in community water supplies. For reference, optimal fluoridation, defined as the recommended fluoride concentration in drinking water, is 0.7 parts per million, or about 1 drop in a 55-gallon barrel. Physicians and dentists take the Hippocratic oath to do no harm. You too took an oath as city commissioners to serve our citizens well. Knowing that, let me state the facts about safe, optimal drinking water fluoridation. Fact 1. The lack of safe, optimal community water fluoridation results in widespread and disastrous health effects from tooth decay. Take a look. 2024 data from the CDC reports that already up to 1 in 5 children in the U.S. suffer from tooth decay and cavities. Here in Florida, it's worse. 1 in 4 third graders have untreated cavities. By age 9, almost half of our kids have experienced tooth decay, fillings, or missing teeth, often with pain, infections, and missed school days. These statistics will far worsen as fluoride is removed from drinking water. Furthermore, untreated tooth decay can result in serious long-term health problems and can have adverse psychological effects on our kids, such as the loss of self-esteem.
Thank you, Mr. Valsic.
Increased costs. This is fact 2. It's expensive enough to pay for regular dental.
I'm sorry.
At this point, Mayor, I would respectfully request to have another 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes to finish this presentation.
Well, I don't know if we can do that, but I could ask the commission here if they can maybe grant another minute or so. Is that okay, a minute?
I have a problem with that.
Okay. Well, we have one commissioner. I'd like to be unanimous on that one.
You could do that, or you could sign a card and finish it up with the 3 minutes. We might be setting up a precedent here, I mean, because we do get these requests quite often, and not trying to be disrespectful, but keeping with the rules. Okay. So if you want to fill up a card and then continue with that, I think that would be a good.
As long as the commission's okay with that. Everyone's okay with that? Okay. All right, we can do that then. So,
thank you.
Okay. So I'll have her fill out a card and then I'll call her back after other people are speaking. Okay, next speaker is Deborah Stanton. up?
My name's Deborah Stanton, and I've been living here on and off since 1969. And I just wanted to address a few things that
Can we have you just move over a little bit to the left? There you go.
I've had a problem with lately. I have contacted, I believe it was Code Enforcement and Home Improvement Department, and I live in Woodmere South, and it's a lovely neighborhood, but a lot of things aren't being enforced with trailers and just junk on people's yards, and it's like 4 houses on one street, and it's really become a nuisance. And I have contacted and complained and taken pictures and spoken to the deputy, his name is Neil, about it for 3 years. And nothing has been done. And I just wanted to bring it to your attention so we can just keep up our neighborhoods, keep them clean and safe, and, you know, things like basketball nets in the street, and they'll move them and then they put things back, and, you know, I'm sure you're familiar with all of it. And my second thing that I did want to address, I do go to the beach every day at Granada, and that new light that's there, I'm sure you've heard it, it's very dangerous to cross A1A. It's got a turning signal while the cross light is on, and just, it's really bad, and it's very dangerous. And I'm sure it shouldn't be that way, but maybe we could look into that. That's all. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Deborah.
Have a good evening.
Just real quick, Sean, I know we talked about that intersection a couple meetings ago. Do we know, is there any other updates going on with that?
I believe they finished all the modifications to bring back that nose of that island. I will get with DOT and talk to them about the signal timing there. If I could ask for just a clarification, is it crossing on the north side of the intersection or the south side of the intersection?
The north side.
Okay.
And the turning lane from Granada.
Ms. Mayor, we need to have.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You know what,
sorry,
Deborah? Yeah, I didn't realize there was going to be that much chat. Can I just come up again and just speak in the microphone so we have you on record?
Just to be clear, as you're driving east down Granada to A1A, when you go to make a right-hand turn, there's a green signal to turn right. But the actual lane has both a turning arrow and a straight arrow, so that's also a problem. But when you're crossing the street from the beach to across A1A, the green turning light is on, and it's giving you the go-ahead to walk. And that's the conflict.
I will personally take a look at it tomorrow, and I'll get with DOT myself.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Next, we have Stephanie Mason Teague.
Hello, everyone. I'm Stephanie Mason Teague, Director of the Ormond Memorial Art Museum and Gardens. I just wanted to take a moment to thank the City Commission, the Leisure Services, the city, for the partnership you have with the museum. We benefit, the community benefits, our residents benefit, and I want to thank you for that. We recently had our annual meeting and dinner and presented our annual report. I did bring copies for everyone. If I'm allowed to hand those out, I would like to do that. And I have some good news, and I was sharing it with Leisure Services Director Robert Carolyn as well. We recently applied for and received a grant from the Daytona Beach Recreation and Racing Facilities District to put in tactile and physical signage to our gardens, to our botanical gardens, that will have wayfinding components. You know, the garden is 2.5 acres. Most of our residents, and maybe some of you, didn't realize it was that large. I didn't, and I've lived in Ormond Beach 20 years. It's a wonderful spot for so many recreational activities, and we're going to add informational signage and wayfinding signage, as well as a turtle sanctuary marker and sign, and 3 butterfly observation zones. The signs will be tactile for young children that can make rubbings, and also for our sight impaired visitors to allow them to tour the gardens and hear an audible recording of what they're looking at. So thank you for that, and also wanted to invite you. We have an exhibition opening on Thursday night, and it starts at 5 to 7, and 2 of our artists will be in attendance talking about the exhibition. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Stephanie. Oh, you could bring them, okay. Yes. Okay, next up is Elena Kraft.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Elena Kraft. I live in Ormond Beach. So on February 17th, I read a news article with this title, Massive Mixed-Use Development Set for Ormond Beach. So this is referring to the Ormond crossings. Now, I know we've talked about it before. We're all sort of aware of it, but when I saw that headline, I was like, okay, it's coming. We have to kind of, start getting ready. So I'm here to simply ask you to please engage our community every step of the way. With over 2,500 residential homes, 2 million square feet of space set aside for light industrial, office, retail, and warehouses, this is going to have a huge impact. We live in Ormond Lakes, right there. We also have Bike Week. We have a lot of traffic on US 1. We understand that this is going to be probably a positive thing economically for our city. But I always believe that there's a way to make sure that the current residents are also taken care of. So we have to be at the table as much as possible as various decisions are being made about this project. We have to be informed about the stormwater studies, traffic studies, what measures are being taken to ensure that low-impact development practices are being integrated. Again, this is, if nobody says anything, of course, developers are going to take the easy way. But if we have higher expectations, we might be able to get some compromises from them. So I would also request a dedicated page to be set aside on the Ormond Beach website that is updated regularly. There is a page there now, and I was looking through it. It provides a good overview of it. It has the history, but has no updates whatsoever, such as the amendment that happened on December 3rd. So please use social media. That's where many of our residents get their news. That's just the reality of it. Use your website. We will, pass that along on our various pages that we run, such as the Protect Volusia page. So I do assume that you all understand the magnitude of this project. It is indeed massive. Please respect our community, include us, communicate with us, just are on the side of over-communicating so that we can be able to, again, make sure that this is a positive project for everyone. Thank you so much.
Amy Valsic, but I think that you're gonna take the place of Jerry, right? That spoke before. Okay, just want to make everybody aware of that. So.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Madam Deputy Mayor, Commissioners, and City staff. My name is Amy Valsic. I'm a resident beachside, and I'll continue where my father, Jerry Valsic, left off. I'm very proud of him, as he is a leading global expert on drinking water. Fact number 2, increased costs. It's expensive enough to pay for regular dental visits, but think about the burden of the high cost of remedial dental measures on young families, many of whom live paycheck to paycheck. And this financial burden will only worsen without optimal community water fluoridation. Fact 3, safe, optimal fluoridation yields tremendous positive long-term health benefits. Fluoridation has literally revolutionized dentistry and healthcare. The proper optimal fluoridation process is safe. It's not at all toxic. Optimal fluoridation prevents tooth decay and cavities, strengthens tooth enamel, protects against decay causing bacteria, and increases bone density. In fact, community water fluoridation is hailed as one of the greatest public health achievements of the 20th century. It's a cornerstone strategy in the US and around the world for preventing cavities and improving health. Well-respected health organizations, including the Florida Dental Association, the American Dental Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, and the CDC are adamant supporting appropriate fluoridation of community water supplies. This has been a practice here for 67 years in Ormond Beach since 1958. In fact, the ADA says, quote, community water fluoridation prevents at least 25% of tooth decay in kids and adults throughout their entire lives. The scientific weight of sound evidence around the benefits is clear and compelling, end quote. Have you all had a chance yet to talk to your dentist about the facts on optimal water fluoridation? In conclusion, our public health really depends on you fulfilling your oath to us. This is an age of misinformation and disinformation, and it's fundamental that you all research, fact-check, and speak with various experts before making decisions that impact the health and well-being of our community. These are precarious times. We urge you to ignore the political noise, listen to legitimate medical professionals, and heed the past 67 years in Ormond Beach of proven, science-based, fact-based, positive health results. We urge you to do no harm and promptly restore the safe and optimal fluoridation of our city water supply. And if you feel further information is needed, then we urge you to reestablish the city's environmental committee with legitimate experts to advise you first and foremost on this issue. Thank you all for your commitment to our city and for your serious attention to what is a public health crisis. Thank you.
I don't have any more cards, so I'm going to now close the audience remarks and move on to approval of the minutes. The minutes for the February 4th, 2025 City Commission meeting have been sent to the Commission for review and posted to the city's website. Does anyone have any corrections or changes at this time?
Move approval. Second.
Any discussion? Okay, all those that approve, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, that's approved. We'll move on to consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are deemed routine and non-controversial. The action proposed is stated for each item. Unless the City Commissioner removes an item from the consent agenda, no discussion on individual items will occur and a single motion will approve all items. Does any member of the Commission wish to pull any items from the consent agenda?
Move approval of the agenda.
Second.
Any discussion? City Clerk, please call the vote.
Commissioner Tolland?
Yes.
Commissioner Sargent?
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton?
Yes.
Commissioner Briley?
Yes.
Mayor Leslie?
Yes. Yes, we're going to, any comments on the agenda at this time? Sorry, Commissioner Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd just like to comment on 7A, just we're increasing the internet at the fire stations, part of the initiative with the technology that continues to upgrade. Another positive for our community. D, I know that's a big number to increase the janitorial services, but if you look at it, they're doing a lot more work, a lot other locations. G, I'm glad that we're getting the gates at the Ormond Airport finally replaced. They're about 30 years old, and it's nice that they're finally, for safety reasons, being replaced. 7J, the contracts for miscellaneous crafts and trades. I'd like to, talk about this for a second. These are contractors that are vetted, if you will, with our staff for projects under $25,000, so they don't have to come to the City Commission for approval. I think in the future we need to, as a commission, look at that number of 25,000 to possibly increase it, because it's been at 25,000 for probably 20 years, and as we know with inflation, we should probably increase that. and I think staff is looking at that, but I just want to bring it up so the commission can know that that's something, because sometimes it takes a long time to get anything done in government when you have certain limits. I think if we increase that, it might streamline getting certain things completed, so I just would like to bring that up. And then on M, the automated parking for Andy Romano Park and places, and just so our residents know that it's free to residents, it's $20 for people that are non-residents of Ormond, just so that's clear on, and that's M, and that is all I have. Thank you.
Commissioner Sargent, is that, I thought it was all Volusia County residents.
Well, all Volusia.
I'm sorry.
Correct.
I'm sorry. Okay, I just want to make sure.
Any other comments? I will just say that I agree with Commissioner Sargent about the 25,000. Even when I looked at the numbers on what we've been spending the last 5 or 10 years, you could see the inflation has really gone up. So the cost of all these services and things that we need has really gone up, and we all seen it in even the stores that we go to and some of the shopping we do. So I can agree on that as well. Joyce.
Mr. Mayor, we will do a survey of what our other jurisdictions are what their limitations are. You're correct in that that hasn't been changed probably for 30 or 40 years. So it doesn't have the same purchasing power as it did back then. So I will be happy to look at that and bring it back to you for consideration.
We appreciate it. Thank you. With that, any other comments about the consent? Okay. I will move on to public hearings. And City Clerk, please read Title 8A.
Ordinance number 2025-12, an ordinance adopting certain updated schedules to the capital improvements element of the City of Ormond Beach Comprehensive Plan, providing when such updates shall take effect, repealing all inconsistent ordinances or parts thereof, and setting forth an effective date. This is the first reading of ordinance number 2025-12, read by title only.
Does anyone like to have Steven Spraker come up and speak on the item? Seeing no here.
Move approval.
Second.
Before we do that, I think I do not have any cards. Okay. Any discussion? Okay, call the vote, please.
Commissioner Sargent?
Yes.
Commissioner Deaton?
Yes.
Commissioner Briley?
Yes.
Commissioner Tolland?
Yes.
Mayor Leslie?
Yes. 8B, read title, please.
Resolution number 2025-61, a resolution authorizing the execution and issuance of a development order for a special exception redevelopment plan regarding the proposed art signage to be located at 67 West Granada Boulevard within the B-4 Central Business Zoning District within the Downtown Overlay District, approving of alternative building signage totaling approximately 104 square feet, establishing conditions and expiration date of approval, and setting forth an effective date. This is resolution number 2025-61, read by title only.
Thank you. At this time, can Steven Spraker please come up and speak on the item?
Good evening, Steven Spraker, Planning Director with the City. This is a request for a special exception redevelopment plan at 67 West Granada. The property butts West Granada and goes through to New Britain. It's almost directly across from Lewis Street. This is the building as it sits today. If the commission recalls, there was a mural approval on this building for a 4-sided mural, and it's still undergoing that process for the mural installation. This is the signage request that the applicant is seeking. The special exception redevelopment plan has been used as a tool to allow items that would not normally be allowed to be requested by applicants. This is the detail of the sign. The Land Development Code will allow 24 square feet. The applicant is requesting 104 square feet. There have been several other examples of redevelopment plans. The Neighborhood Scoop sign is one that doesn't fit within the parameters of our Land Development Code. The Pump House Barbecue pig sign is one that was approved. The Ormond Art Museum had additional signage, and the butterflies approved as part of their redevelopment plan. And the Ormond Garage has 14 signs totaling 246 square feet. So it is a tool that is City Commission monitored And this application was reviewed by Ormond Main Street, which recommended approval. The planning board also recommended approval, and the applicant is here to address the commission if there are any questions.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Spraker? Oh, Commissioner Sargent?
I do have a question. It might be for the applicant. Can we, on this, where it says art, is there any way we could do like it as a V shape? So when you're driving down Granada, you'd see it one way and then the other way? Or am I just not looking at it the right way? Because when you drive by this, you're going so fast you almost don't see it. If we had it at a, 2 that said art, as you're driving by, you'd be able to see it from both directions, knowing that it was an art gallery there.
That'd be 2 signs.
My opinion. I know, it's just my opinion. I just think it would look a little bit, I like it, something a little different.
Are you really driving by that quick down there?
There is a speed
I
limit.
do 35. But when you have that little part that stands up and you're driving by, you're not going to see it unless you're, I don't know, just my thought. I'm all for it. I like it. I just think it would a little bit more.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
I would just,
Riley.
and I don't know if Ms. Byrd or Mr. Jones want to speak to this, but I will, I'm in favor of this. I don't know if you all had a chance to see tonight, but on Channel 6 News at 6 o'clock prior to this meeting, there was a great story about Mr. Jones and his redevelopment work in our downtown. Over $10 million has been spent so far by Mr. Jones, and they highlighted some of the other things that we've, that he's done that we've allowed. And I think, when we looked at this originally as far as the downtown plan, we also looked at a lot of flexibility for our downtown for redevelopment. And they've taken what was 25 years ago a blighted downtown and really turned it into a vibrant and beautiful downtown. So I commend you, Mr. Jones, for this project, and you have my support.
Deputy Mayor.
I feel like I'm copying Commissioner Briley again, but I agree with everything he said. He is, you have personally made our downtown a very vibrant, fun place to live. And every time you come here with an outlandish idea of a pig or another LED sign at Fugu, I'm like, oh my gosh. But it always looks amazing, and I would be in 100% support of it.
Commissioner Deaton?
I'll just echo, I appreciate the investment that you put in our downtown. It really is a spotlight for our good community, and I trust your judgment on this one.
I will echo everyone else here and say that, you did a fantastic job. Great. I mean, everything that we see is always fantastic. This is fantastic as well. I fully support it as well. I like the idea that Commissioner Sargent said with the angle. I don't drive that fast to look, but maybe it would be helpful. But I think that just for the way it is right now, it's probably just leave it the way it is, I guess. But maybe later on, if you think that might work, then maybe you could work with the city to try to figure that out. At this time, I do have, did anybody have any more questions for them before I call audience remarks? No? Okay. Sure, Commissioner Deaton.
I know that it was discussed at the planning board meeting regarding the time of night that the sign would turn off. Did you guys come up with a time for that by chance since then?
You want me to introduce myself?
No, we know you.
Okay. We didn't.
Well, for the
but we
record, you should introduce yourself, though.
Dorian Burt, 203 Pine Cone Trail, Ormond Beach, Florida. I do notice that you don't ask for the addresses anymore, but I learned that way 25 years ago. Our engineer is here. I'm assuming, I shouldn't say that. I should defer to him. Can we put that on a timer that doesn't go all night? I think that.
Thank you.
I was pretty sure that. So probably 2 o'clock in the morning. Dusk till 2 o'clock, I think. Okay, thanks.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I will call Mr. Bill Jones. Well, you know what? It actually says if needed, so if you don't need to speak, then you don't have to. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, fellow commissioners, I just want to thank you guys for letting me do what I do, all right? There was a thing on the news tonight about me, and it kind of embarrassed me a little bit, because usually I don't like the limelight. Many people know me that well. And what I've been trying to do downtown is I've really fallen in love with this downtown, as I've said over and over again. And if you look at that sign, what you're looking at, what's unfortunate is you're looking at just one little glimpse of what that's going to look like. What you really have to try and imagine is the entire scape from Beach Street all the way down to US 1. So turning it would be a good idea. It would be tough to figure out which way to turn it. Do we do east-west, north, east-west or west-east? But honestly, that's why the size was a very important thing. It's out there, it's going to slow things down a little bit. Because I've been out there, and honest to God, yeah, I've seen traffic fly by all hours of the day and night, sorry. But I'm hoping that if we can put enough things downtown that people will maybe hit the brakes and look at. All right, that's the big key to this stuff. That's the idea with the pig and fugu and this. So that's what we're hoping for. In other words, instead of just flying through, because it used to be, my feeling was when I first got here, downtown Ormond Beach was really just drive-through. Just, okay, let's get through here, go over the bridge, we'll get to the beach. All right, let's get through here, let's get to the other side of town and go someplace to live. So what I try to do is I try to put the brakes on downtown even before we had the center median, which slowed things down and made it a prettier downtown. So that's part of it. And it is, sometimes they are outlandish, sometimes it has to be, because you don't get noticed. It's like the Empire State Building. If the thing was 4 stories tall, nobody'd look at it. It's got to be something that slows you down and really gives you some kind of an impression. And this town deserves it. The history in this town is absolutely beyond the pale. And really, we don't know about it. And a lot of people need to read about it because some of the most amazing people in the world has passed through these streets. And I appreciate that. I'm not born here, but right now I'm almost ashamed to admit that I'm not. Okay, I wish I was. But I really feel like the place has adopted me, and I really want to be a good son to it. So thank you all for everything, and I hope I said my piece. Anyway, thanks again. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Jones.
Mr. Mayor, if there's no other comment, I'll move approval.
Second.
Well, I just want to make sure Dory didn't want to say anything else. Did you want to? No? Okay. Okay. Just want to make sure. Okay. Okay, there was a motion? Okay. Any other conversation? No? Seeing none? City Clerk, please call the vote.
Commissioner Deaton?
Yes.
Commissioner Briley?
Yes.
Commissioner Tolland?
Yes.
Commissioner Sargent?
Yes.
Mayor Leslie?
Yes. I will now close the public hearings. And we'll move on to staff and commission reports, suggestions, and requests, starting with City Manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Just to give you a few highlights, your next regular commission meeting is Tuesday, March 4th. We are going to have a goal-setting workshop on March 12th and March 13th. That's our strategic planning workshop. Someone should have talked to each of you about the dates and whatnot, so please be prepared for that. I'm delighted to announce that our wonderful city clerk and her staff have launched a second Citizen Academy. The Academy will begin on April 17th, and we have just a very few spots open. The program is 6 weeks on Thursdays from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. with graduation at the City Commission meeting on June 3rd. The application is on the website, so please hurry there and put your application in. It's a wonderful Citizens Academy. You get to go to the police department, the fire department, you get to go to Public Works and see all that's going on in the city. It's really fabulous. She's done a great job with that. Just to give you an update, at Casson Park, the new bait shop foundation has been poured. The park will be closed during the week, but open on weekends for the next month while underground utility work progresses. The boat ramps will remain open on the weekends with parking behind City Hall Library. And they do that anyway in the really busy months of fishing. They park over there. The bait shop remains open with parking available at Bailey River Bridge and access from under the bridge. A long time coming, but finally the pavers are being manufactured for the Nova Community Park. I call them the thoughtful pavers, where you can contemplate as you're walking some positive thoughts and energy to Finally, I know, right? Just takes a while. We had a hard time finding a good paver manufacturer. 16 of the 18 inline stormwater check valves have been installed to help alleviate flooding in low-lying areas. This project was funded by FEMA through the Hazard Mitigation Grant. The remaining check valves should be delivered and installed by the end of February. Let's see, what else do I have here? So I just want you to start marking your calendar. We'll be sending you a copy of this schedule out in the email. As I spoke, we're going to be doing goal setting. April 1st, there will be a workshop for public art. April 22nd, we'll have a workshop on stormwater, flooding issues. June 3rd is our capital improvements plan workshop. That's for the budget. July 22nd is our operating budget. And if these dates don't work for some reason, we'll, circle back with you. To be determined, we're going to have some sunshine law training for city commission advisory staffs, advisory boards, and staff. So that's on the agenda. That's about all I have, unless you have any questions for me.
Would you be able to send those, all those dates and this
Absolutely.
thing to all of us, please?
And again, they're not
Thank
set
you.
in stone. We just wanted to, that's what we're kind
Yeah.
of penciling ahead. So we need you to take a look at your calendars. We'll send that out to you. And then the next time we get together, we can review what works for you all and what doesn't.
Perfect, thank you.
But not the strategic planning, because that's already set. Thank you.
Thank you, Joyce. Assistant City Manager, Sean, you have anything?
Yes. It's with great sadness that I share with you all today that we, in Public Works, lost someone we dearly loved yesterday. Al Waite, our Water Reclamation Facilities Chief Operator, passed away after a short illness. In his time with us, Al made an amazing impact on our plant. It's better today than when he came. Al's dedication to his staff, to our residents, and to environmental stewardship are things that inspired me, and he will be very much missed.
Wow, I just had to take a breath on that one for a second. City Attorney Randy Hayes?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
Okay. And this evening, we'll begin with Commissioner Briley. Yep, sorry.
Okay. Well, just a few quick things. Quick question, I guess I can bring this up with Sean. The bulb outs that DOT removed, like over at A1A in Granada and a couple of the other ones, I've just noticed where they removed them, there's some like loose debris in the road, and I was hoping that maybe DOT, if we could contact them about maybe cleaning that before Bike Week, because I know that's always a hazard for motorcyclists.
I will do that. When I call them tomorrow, I'll make sure we mention that any of those little things can throw a bike really asunder. So right. I will make sure that they're reminded.
Just kind of noticed that
they're reminded. They should not be doing any, just for everybody's information, DOT does not allow work during special events, so they shouldn't be doing any work during that period, but I'll make sure that they get everything cleaned up prior to that.
Okay. And when you're talking with the DOT, I think probably most of us have received maybe an email. I've had a couple of phone calls regarding the A1A, actually the Ocean Shore Boulevard construction north of Granada up around, they're using Neptune as a detour. A lot of folks are concerned about, that being a residential street and the amount of traffic that will be traveling that road for quite some time. So if we could just talk to them, I don't know if there's any other options as far as, Neptune that they could possibly use.
We've talked to them and worked with them on those detours. It's going to move. The detour won't always be on Neptune. It will move further north. One of the things that we asked them to impress upon them, typically when you do a detour, you will move people to a side street and then move them back. Okay. We've asked them, once they've moved them to Halifax, keep them on Halifax and don't move them on Standish and then bring them back on Neptune. Okay. And so once the disturbance on Neptune is complete, we tried to take the arterial roads or the collector roads, not putting them down the smaller streets. Right. And so we've tried to work out the best plan. It's an unfortunate, but Neptune and Standish and Amson are those streets that are the most likely that they're going to be used here, and we've asked them to kind of minimize it as much as they can.
Do you know how long they'll be using Neptune roughly?
I can find that out for you. I don't know off the top of my head.
Thank you, sir. I'm glad Becky Parker's still here. Want to congratulate you on your proclamation. And also, the statues downtown have just, I've gotten so many, calls and text messages and emails about people that just really like the statues. I was asked a question this morning, and I said I would maybe bring the subject up tonight. I know those statues are on loan until next month. Is there any chance we could get them back next year?
We're already planning.
Okay. Because I think it's just been wildly popular. We'll keep finding the sponsors to help sponsor them, right? All right, thank you. And then something has been kind of talked about. We've talked about it before. Other commissions have talked about it. And we're, in the reconstruction of Casson Park, we're putting in utilities for the future, for the possibility of the future lighting of the Granada Bridge. Is that correct, Sean? And with the 250th anniversary of our country coming up next year, I thought it might be appropriate to maybe put that as a goal for 2026 for lighting of the bridge. I mean, that is kind of the focal point in our community. And if we can use, and I'm pretty sure we can, use CRA dollars to do that. I don't know how much we have in our CRA coffers, but I think that it could be something we could talk about maybe at a future meeting. I don't know if there's interest in doing that.
Maybe in the budget.
Or in the budget workshop, that'd be a great place.
Yeah,
Or a
I
great
thought
time to talk about it.
we could talk about too at our goal setting too.
Yeah,
We
sure.
all think it's,
Sure.
yeah, it's a great idea.
And then lastly, I just want to, Bob Priest has already left, but Super Bowl Sunday, I had a little emergency at my house. There was a sewer backup on the city side, and Tanner and
Is that what you
Tracy.
tell everybody?
I'm sorry?
Is that what you tell everybody?
Yeah. So Tanner and Tracy from the city, I talked to Sean. Sean was great. And this is just how this is how our residents are treated in Ormond Beach. Within half an hour, someone was there. They had the line cleared within 10 minutes, and everything was great. So I just want to give my thanks and a shout out to our public works folks. It's not easy on the weekends, especially when you have some sort of special event. But they are just great, and I want to thank you all publicly. And with that, I will say good night. Thank you.
Good night. Deputy Mayor Tolland. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much. Mayor Leslie, tonight I'm going to use my comments as an opportunity to speak on an issue that to me demands some immediate attention. I need to start by saying that I am very honored to serve on this commission and to represent the residents of Ormond Beach. We all took an oath with a commitment to serve with integrity, professionalism, and collaboration. And it's essential that we work together as a body to uphold the principles of our commission rather than acting independently in ways that do not reflect our collective governance. During our orientation, we all received protocol training, including guidance on media interactions. Commissioner Sargent recently outlined the commissioner-manager form of government using an organizational chart. And last meeting, Commissioner Deaton emphasized the importance of ensuring that public statements about city economics are accurate to avoid misinformation and potential backlash. She also addressed the importance of maintaining professionalism by refraining from using public forums for personal business promotion or endorsing candidates as a mayor. Additionally, our city attorney, Mr. Hayes, has provided clear explanations regarding the authority and limitations set forth in our charter and our ordinances. As commissioners, we each have an equal responsibility with one vote per member, and we are collectively accountable for all the decisions we make as one body. We're fortunate to have a very dedicated professional staff that supports us governing effectively. Our city attorney provides the legal guidance, Our city manager and our assistant managers oversee our daily operations. Our public information officer ensures that external communications are accurate and reflect our city's values. These roles are in place to help us present Ormond Beach in the best possible light. It is in the best interest of our city that discussions on community matters take place up here on the dais, with input from all members, rather than being presented publicly by one individual as if speaking on behalf of the entire commission. Recently, there have been a few instances, specifically the News 6 segment and the Ormond Beach Observer interview, wherein accurate information was shared. In both cases, it appeared that responses were made with full knowledge of the facts. When this happens, it affects not only your individual credibility, but also the reputation of the entire commission, our staff, and most importantly, the residents of Ormond Beach. I understand that, Mayor, that your time in the community has been relatively short, and I recognize that sometimes that institutional knowledge isn't always there. However, that makes it even more critical that you use the professional staff that's made available to us to get that information before making public statements. Our city's representation in the media should be factual, balanced, and reflective of the community's true history and accomplishments. I respectfully ask that you work collaboratively with the commission and the staff and continue with positive progress made by both the past and present leadership. While we may not always agree on every issue up on the dais, it is important that all perspectives are brought up for discussion before being shared externally. This will ensure that our city is represented fairly and accurately at all times. Thank you.
Commissioner Sargent.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Last meeting I was absent. First meeting I've missed in 2.5 years, however long it's been. I was in Washington, D.C. with the Florida League of Cities. I was one of 51 elected officials on the federal action strike team. This year we lobbied for the following 4 items. Protecting the tax-exempt status for municipal bonds, addressing PFAS contamination, which is PFAS is the forever chemical in our waters. And the problem that really with this one is the liability that the municipalities didn't put it in the waters, but we are responsible for cleaning it up, and the potential lawsuits. We really need some liability protection for this, and that was something that we were lobbying for. Strengthening the National Flood Insurance Program, the NFIP. Congress every year does these one-year extensions of the program when they really should look at it a little bit further and start doing 5 years, so that every year we're not coming up to the expiration of the program not knowing if it's going to be extended or not. And then the last one was we lobbied for federal grants. Really, this was to streamline the process for smaller municipalities that don't have grant writers, that maybe potentially they could partner with another municipality to get grants on different, instead of just saying they don't qualify for it. We met with the following individuals. We had a meeting with Senator Rick Scott, Representative Michael Herodopoulos, Representative Byron Donalds, Representative Dan Webster, Representative Neil Dunn, and then the Governor DeSantis' federal aide. She came in for a little while and met with us. I think it's very important that whenever any of us go on trips, that we always provide the residents with an update of what we learned and what was accomplished wherever we go, whether it's for the League of Cities or anything. And I know, Mr. Mayor, that you've gone on some, and I would really like to have an update on some of the mayor retreats. I know there was a legislative event where you talked about priorities, but I don't know what they were, and I wasn't there, so it would help us all as a commission to learn from each other to really hammer on these. I have a lot, so I'm sorry, but I'm trying to catch up here. That is that one. I guess I'll move to this one. On February 10th, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to end the procurement and forced use of paper straws. The federal government is directed to stop purchasing paper straws and ensure that they are no longer provided within federal buildings. The order requires the development of national strategy to end the use of paper straws within 45 days to alleviate the forced use of paper straws. And I'm sorry, I'm just going to read this. I know it's long, but I think it's important that the residents understand this. Bringing back common sense. The irrational campaign against plastic straws has forced Americans to use non-functional paper straws. This ends under President Trump. Cities and states across America have banned plastic straws, caving into pressure from activists and prioritizing symbolism over science. Paper straws use chemicals that may carry risks to human health, including forever chemicals, PFAS, which is per and fluoride polyfluoric substance. You get it. Which are known to be highly water soluble and can bleed from the straws into a drink. A study found that while PFAS was found in paper straws, no measure PFAS was found in plastic straws. Paper straws are more expensive than plastic straws and often force users to use multiple straws. Paper straws are not the eco-friendly alternative they claim to be. Studies have shown that producing paper straws can have a larger carbon footprint and require more water than plastic straws. Paper straws often come individually wrapped in plastic, undermining the environmental argument for their use. Promoting a clean and healthy environment, President Trump has made it a top priority to promote a clean and healthy environment for the American people. With that being said, I would like us to look at our ordinance, if the commission so desires, to repeal our educational straw ban that we put into place a few years back. I don't know if anyone else on the dais would be interested in directing staff to do that, but I think that we don't need that on an educational straw ban on our ordinances in the city of Ormond Beach. So I don't know if anyone else is interested in.
I'd be interested.
Anyone else?
I'd be interested in looking into it. I don't know where I'm at with it right now, but I'd be interested in addressing it.
Okay, well, I see the city attorney writing notes over there, so that'll be something that we'll bring back and discuss, right? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the only question I have is, do you want us to bring back a repealer ordinance, or do you want to discuss it first and then give the staff direction?
Can we discuss it first and then give staff directions to repeal the ordinance, please?
Perfect.
Thank you. Can I get the slide put up on the thing, please? I have a lot. I'm very sorry, but it's going to be a long night. Why that's coming up. We've been hearing all about flooding in our community. And you hear the different solutions or proposed solutions and everything. This is something I would like to discuss as a commission. This property right here is right by the YMCA. This is 20 acres. About 10 of it is actually upland. So about 10 of it's developable, excuse me. I would like to see if the city might want to be interested in purchasing this to preserve this property, because this is very special property. You have Thompson Creek where this is low-lying area that really could help mitigate, I think, some flooding issues that we have in Sanchez and some of the other neighborhoods. I would like us to look at this, because right now it is zoned. We could put a adult living facility there. Excuse me. It's currently zoned B1, which is multifamily, assisted living, nursing home, or hospital uses. So we hear about talking about solutions. I think this is something that we really could look into and preserve a very special piece of land, I think, in the center of our city from being developed. And if you ever go by here, this is very wet, very, very wet. And we hear about the fill and build and everything. To build on this is going to be trouble. And I just would I don't know if we can look at have staff look at maybe different funding options, whether whatever the mechanism may be, just to explore this option. I don't know if, did you have a comment?
Just a question, and I hate to bring Stephen up here, but I guess my question would be, with knowing what that property is like right now, what would the chances that staff could support something being developed on that property given the current zoning? Given the conditions of the property?
Steven Spraker.
Steve Spraker, Planning Director. So, without a survey and some additional analysis, I think I heard you said there was 10 acres of uplands. So there is something that could be built on there. What it is unknown until you get into the specifics of the site development. The B1 allows a variety of uses that are allowed by right.
Right, but it'd be a very small portion of the property that could be developed. But I think that's what Commissioner Sargent was saying as well. Okay.
But when you fill and build, like we hear all the time, this is an opportunity for us to explore an option.
Right, I'm not arguing the plan.
I'm just saying, like, this is an option that when we look around, we don't have many parcels like this and when you look at Thompson Creek and everything that flows through here, we could even turn it into where you could paddleboard through some of these. You could turn recreational and make it more parks or friendly for our community. So I just wanted to throw it out there. I don't know if anyone else wants to direct staff to potentially look at it, but
Kristen.
I'd be open to looking into that. I'd love to preserve that area. That would be a phenomenal option. If it truly is an option, I would like to look into that.
Yeah, I love that idea, and actually I've looked at a few other areas already, and I think when we do our stormwater workshop, this would be the right time to identify properties that might work. I'm not saying this isn't a great idea, this one specifically, but there might be other opportunities as well that we can use to protect flooding and stormwater and all. So I want to be not just I want to be more inclusive and not just that one property.
I understand, but I think this is a unique parcel that we.
Sorry, I was going to ask a question.
Oh, I still was going, but go ahead.
Okay. Steven Spraker, can you just come up again for a second? And you might have a question too with this, by the way. With the uses of this property, I mean, obviously there's a lot of different things that can go into this, but I would agree with the commission here about the workshop we're going to do with storm drainage. Is there a way we can probably put that in there too in that workshop just to discuss that property a little more?
Right. I think the city manager is hearing what you're saying. We solicited properties a few years ago for Volusia Forever. So we went to property owners and we ended up buying 901 Airport Road. A similar exercise could be done, trying to see which properties are interested, and then either working through your goal setting or the workshop. So I think staff and the city manager is hearing what you're saying, and then we can come up with options.
Okay. Any other questions or comments on that?
I'm still.
Okay, sorry.
I have a lot more to go. I just think that we need to act sooner than later. I hate that we delay. This is an opportunity where this person could come in and submit a plan tomorrow. And now it's off the table and we can't do anything. And this is this parcel, a year and a half ago, we cleaned out probably 75 homeless people that were living on it with about 5 or 6 full dumpsters of trash out of this. They had roads cut out where they were living on they had their own little sections. It's just a great opportunity in the heart of our city to preserve something. So I hate to kick the can down the road, but I'm open for if that's what y'all want to do.
So what can we do right now? Or is there anything,
Well, you're going to have to get appraisals on that property before you can buy it. We're going to have to survey it, that kind of stuff. So it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take...
There's some due diligence you have to do.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I understand that. I just don't like kicking the can down the road, so that's why I guess I have a problem with government, but thank you. On to my next one. Well, I just hope that someone doesn't submit an application on it, because drive by it and you'll see what I'm talking about. It would be perfect little gem for us to preserve in the heart of our city, and can really relieve a lot of flooding issues around the area. So I'll leave that one alone. The dog-friendly pilot program is coming up. I have a lot of asks tonight, by the way, too. The dog-friendly pilot program is coming up to expire, and I only have one condo of a handful of people that really have an issue with this. Otherwise, I hear so much positive of this part of the beach where people can bring their animals and enjoy it. And I just would like to see if the commission would be willing to send a letter recommending that the council continue this after this pilot program expires. The 18-month is coming up, and I just think that it would be great if we could send a letter of support to the county to continue this program. And I don't know if that's another ask.
Will we have another meeting before then? I mean, I'm with you on it. I just don't know if we have another meeting, we can send.
Their meeting's tonight, so I think it would be best to have it go out in between this meeting and next.
As soon as possible, then.
I'm okay. I've only heard one resident complain, and it's the same one that complained before we started. And I only hear good things, so I'd be on board with that. Thank you for bringing that up, by the way.
I definitely appreciate you bringing it up as well. I've gotten a lot of compliments on the program, to be honest, and I have not read a lot of complaints on it. It is such a small portion of our rather large beach that I think that it's instrumental, and I would be on board with that as well.
I'd be on board as well, and I agree that there's only just, maybe one person that doesn't like it, but everyone else seems to be okay with it, so I would support that as well.
I'd support that as well.
Mr.
Yes.
Mayor, if it's okay with you, what I would like to do is to draft a letter for the mayor's signature to send to the county council, and we'll have to rely on my ability to write a letter about that. So,
Jen's really good.
because we won't. You have no confidence in me. I'm so
didn't say that.
disappointed. So if you're okay with that, that would, and I see heads are shaking, yes. Do I need to vote on that?
No, it's fine.
Okay, so I will prepare a letter for the mayor's signature and we'll send that.
Okay.
Thank you.
In support of continuation of that program.
Thank you.
Is it going out a pilot program, or is it going to continue a pilot?
No, it'll be the pilot, 18-month pilot program is ending.
So just be a permanent then, okay.
Correct. Well, I got something done.
Look at you.
Y'all thought I was done. I read last month that the Volusia County Council voted 4-2 to continue funding the First Step Shelter. And this is just an ask for your comments, Mr. Mayor, when it comes up, I guess. But as our representative on the board, I would like to know what your thoughts are regarding the city to continue funding this. Is the city making good use of this facility? And also, if we're not using, how can we better use this facility? So that's just an ask for you in your comments. Then I have one more. And I know also at the last commission meeting, I wasn't here, but I listened to it when I was in DC. I know that you brought up, Mr. Mayor, the Councilman Kent's 6-point plan, which I think Chairman Brower had an additional point in there as well, so it was really 7. I would just like to know, I don't know where we left that off, but I would like to know more about those 6 points and also how they would be relevant to the city of Ormond Beach, just so we can apply them. And that's, I'm almost there. And then lastly, I would like to just thank all of staff, Kelly McGuire, I guess they already left, all the finance department for all they do to keep our budget in line. I know. It's because they're here early. Claire, Jen, just amazing work y'all do on social media and everything. I really appreciate it. It's really noticed. All of staff from the top down really has the city's best interest at heart. And, I met, hold on, give me 1 second. It was, he already left on me. Ed Wilson. Oh, you are still there. I didn't see you. 4th generation Ormond, 2nd generation employee of Ormond Beach. I mean, that's pretty, and he's doing it because he loves the city of Ormond Beach, he told me earlier. I mean, that's the type of employees that we have here. And I just want to say thank you. Also, we have Michael Gentry. Thank you for stepping up to the planning board. your long history in Ormond Beach, leading AmeriCrown at the Speedway, many other accomplishments. You worked with my mom in 1985 at the American Red Cross, and thank you for stepping up to that. And then I'll leave with this. I had a phone call last week from an employee, and it was kind of disturbing, to be honest with you, that told me that someone on this dais was trying to get the city manager fired. And I just wanted to be clear. We up here are only one vote. We should not be out there. That kills morale. It kills employees' morale and how they work. And it's just uncalled for. If you have a problem, call that person and sit down with them or discuss it up here. Don't do it behind closed doors and think something's going to happen. It's very unprofessional. With that, I say good night.
Commissioner Deaton.
Good evening. I would like to touch on the Ormond Beach Leadership Program. I know that we are about to get started on that. I'm a proud Ormond Beach Leadership graduate in 2019. Debbie Cotton leads a good ship over there. They are accepting applications. If you are interested in learning more about the leadership in Ormond Beach, we are happy to, I'm happy to answer any questions. I know Debbie will be happy to answer any questions as well. Hey, congratulations to Becky Parker for everything you do at Ormond Main Street. I know you're super helpful for me whenever I have questions, and you love to support our local businesses. I really do appreciate that. Let's see. In a very public News 6 segment, the mayor stated that the Magic Forest Rainbow Park would be reopened within 2 to 4 weeks. Given these timelines, I would like to confirm where the project currently stands, if city staff can please advise on that.
The contractor is out there today.
Good.
They've completed all the demolition of the old. They are in the process of working on putting back the structural portions of it that sustained the damage. We're estimating probably closer to 4 to 6 weeks to getting it back open. What we're working on right now is trying to get as much of the structural portions, the unsafe portions, put back. And then once we get to that point, what we're going to do is open it on the weekends so the kids can start enjoying it, and then closing it Monday through Thursday so we can finish up those parts of it that make Magic Forest special. The painting, some of the painting, some of the artistic endeavor, additions to it. So we want to get it open as quickly as we can. It's going to take a little bit longer to get it back to the Magic Forest playground that we all know and love. But does that help?
That definitely does help. Do you know, will they be keeping those original names from back in my day? Please say yes.
Let me know what the names you want to keep, and we'll do our best.
My maiden name? No, just kidding. I appreciate that. Okay. Thank you for the update. Jen, if possible, could we get an update on social media, just to kind of update that timeline for the public? I know we've seen some questions on there, and I would just appreciate a quick update on social media, if you don't mind, just so the public can be aware. Regarding the half-mast tribute for Captain Campos, while I appreciate the gesture, I was troubled by the way it was communicated. Public recognition of a loss should always prioritize the wishes and feelings of the grieving family, rather than appearing self-serving. Every news article on the matter specifically highlighted who contacted the governor's office for a request, which gave the impression of politicizing a death. Moving forward, I would like to ask all city leaders to communicate directly with the families before making public declarations in their name, making sure the respect and sensitivity always comes first. I have received multiple calls regarding the recent News 6 segment with the mayor. To my knowledge, city staff, public informations officer, and facilities personnel were not informed ahead of time about the news crew's arrival. It is protocol for the commission and the mayor to contact the city PIO if approached by the media, and I want to ensure that is upheld. I do not believe that this segment best portrayed Ormond Beach. In my opinion, downtown Ormond Beach, local businesses, the casements, and Memorial Gardens would have been optimal locations to spotlight the gem that Ormond Beach truly is, and perhaps with the seasoned locals who are familiar with our town and its history.
Many municipalities have ordinances in place stating that no actions should be taken by the mayor or any member of the city commission on behalf of the city unless it is approved by the majority of the commission. This helps prevent confusion among third parties whether statements, including news segment commentary, made by elected officials reflect their personal opinions or official city positions. If Ormond Beach does not currently have such an ordinance, I would like to propose that we adopt one tonight. I welcome the input of my fellow commissioners and the city attorney on this matter.
Thank you, Commissioner Deaton. Is that all?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I would like to get the input of my fellow commissioners and the city attorney on adopting an ordinance in regards to what I just stated.
We heard that, but there's no other discussion.
Randy, is there anything any input or anything that you would like to do, please?
Well, we have provisions in the city charter and the code that discusses the commission manager form of government. And we've had discussions about this one-on-one in orientation sessions. We do not have an ordinance similar to that which Commissioner Deaton has discussed, but I kind of view that as a kind of a gap filler. So I can take a look at that and kind of as connective tissue, and perhaps that might provide some additional guidance in the future on some of the questions that I've heard this evening. So if that is your direction, I'll be happy to do that.
Just a question, Randy, would that be more of an ordinance or a policy?
It would be an ordinance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with other cities? Do other cities have similar ordinances like
Just generally speaking, all of the jurisdictions are a little bit different. Our form of government is really spelled out in the city charter. That's kind of the city's constitution, if you will. And then the code of ordinances are the implementing regulations. Under the commission form of government that has been adopted by the city, we have a strong manager form of government. The city manager is responsible for the administration of all city business. As commission members, you're co-equal. You each have your 1/5 vote up here and provide direction to the city staff in terms of how you wish that to be implemented. So I can take a look at those provisions and try to clean it up a little bit if it might be helpful in the future to provide some additional guidance. I can certainly do that. That's your direction.
So I do have a sample from the city of Daytona Beach Shores that does have an ordinance to this effect, if you guys would like to take a look at it.
Certainly, yes.
Is that your closing comment? You're done? Okay. I'm going to talk about the First Step Shelter. I wasn't going to talk about that in the closing comments, but I know Commissioner Sargent brought it up because I do serve on the board. We only had one meeting, and we were supposed to have a meeting last week, and apparently Daytona Beach, who manages this program, didn't publicly notice it long enough, so we had to cancel it the day before. I rode with a police officer in town and got to just get a little more familiar with the amount of interest from people that want to participate in the program. And I know there's a lot of concerns about that. There's a lot of concerns about the direction the shelter is going with some of the things that you read about in the news. And at this time, I probably would say that I'm not prepared yet to make any suggestions. I was going to spend a little more time, just go to more meetings, discuss it with the other board members. I mean, we're Sunshine, so the only time we can discuss things is together as a group. But I think that once we get closer to the budget, there might be something that I might present to every one of you about maybe some ideas and suggestions so that, we can get the full maximization of this program. As far as the Citizens Academy, I'm glad to see that's going again. I was actually a graduate last year. It was a great program, and staff did a really good job of putting that all together. Got a really good tour of the city, and it was really great. So thank you for that. And I think that's sold out, right? Or it's already filled? Or
I think they have
Are there still some vacancies? Okay.
Susan?
Yes, it was full, but we've had a few people unable to participate, so those seats are open now.
Okay. Can they just go on the website to do that? How do they do that?
Yes, the packet is all on the website.
Okay, that's good to know. It was a great program, and I had a lot of fun. And speaking of that, that's the first time I got to meet Al, so I'm really sorry to hear about Al's passing. If we can maybe send something to his family as a condolence, that would be greatly appreciated. I'm sure we have something in the works with that. Bill Jones, he already left, but I wanted to, congratulate him and thank him for everything he does. The city, this downtown wouldn't be looking the way it was without him. Last week, I got to go with the Chamber of Commerce and some other individuals to do Teacher of the Quarter. I see Debbie Cotton still here. That was a lot of fun, and we got to visit a lot of schools in a very short time, but it was we had a blast. As far as the comments before about the trips, I did get with Joyce on the one trip in D.C. About some of the things I brought back, and I apologize that I didn't bring it to the commission here, but there was a lot of things that were discussed. We actually talked about PFAS in the fire gear, and there was a meeting about that, about the concerns, and they're thinking that PFAS has links to other types of illnesses like cancer and things like that. So I did bring some brochures back and some information the city can look into as far as that equipment goes and what we can do to try to mediate those potential problems. Other than that, though, I will let everyone go because I know everyone's getting a little under the weather here. So with that, meeting adjourned.
Mr. Mayor, before you do that, I just want one point of clarification on the Shores ordinance. Is that by consensus of the commission that you want me to prepare that? Up here listening to it, I think what I can do is I could prepare a memo that will further explain the power structure as well with that and kind of connect the connecting tissue, if you will. But before I do that, I just want to make sure that that's a consensus of everybody up here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
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 Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. With that, meeting adjourned.
I am like, maybe Lori's getting me sick. I want to be